Right guys, so as you can see we're here for AOR Season 15, round number 3 here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at Baku. Coming here after round number 2 at China, which didn't go very well, and I recommend you go and check out that video before you watch this one. But I managed to grab my second ever AOR pole, despite the fact I've had 11 wins across all tiers. But you would have seen in the race that we were doing pretty well in the first stint, but then in the second stint choosing the medium tyres, which was the wrong choice. Synthetic managed to get through, and then I had the glitchiest race ever, which managed to take me out the race and lose my wing, so I got 0 points in that one. So we need a good race around here, and the only, I say the only practice I did was the event for esports, but I did do a bit of practice, and you can see there on my first run I've absolutely screwed up turn 1 already, and that is not the ideal way to start qualifying. But most of the practice I did around here was the Baku event for esports, and I did do a bit of like online and 50% races, but not really as much as I would have hoped. Once again, not really having too much time, and you could see there that we were on a decent lap on our second lap of that first run here in qualifying, but I decided to go into the pits because I didn't want a repeat of what happened last season. But you can see now, with a minute to go, we are 7.5 seconds up on our previous time. We want to be setting a 39 at least, and we want to be near to a 39.6, which was my PB before this. But I'm sorry if my commentary doesn't sound amazing. I'm a bit ill with hay fever right now, but you can see breaking into turn number 15 I think it is, but taking too much curb there and hitting the wall and losing about half a second in the process. So we're going again, and we're yet to set a competitive time here with pretty much 30 seconds remaining, so it's all or nothing here on this last lap. And I'd like to thank Formula Danny for this setup that I was running, or Veloce Formula Danny. It was definitely a good setup for raw pace, but you'll see in the race in a minute that the wing levels I was running were just wrong, to be honest, and I couldn't really get through. But you can see now, starting the lap, braking just as the curb starts there on the right, taking turn 1 pretty nicely there, don't really want to touch that curb on the exit, and now braking once again as the curb starts on the right, and not the greatest start to lap. You can see already 600th down on our previous best, currently in P15, so we really need a good lap here. And we're going to brake in between, I think it was just about the 100 metre board actually, taking it in third gear, losing the rear slightly, and we're still down on our previous best time, which wasn't an amazing lap even at this stage. So once again around here we're not doing the best we could be doing around Baku qualifying. Last season I qualified last and managed to get 5th, but with the wings I was running 1.6 I believe it was, which is definitely a good option for the middle sector, but you'll see down the long straights in the race it just didn't work at all for me. And yeah, it would work if I qualified at the front, but you'll see where I qualify in a minute that is not going to be very helpful for our race at all. And now we're starting to go up on the delta compared to our previous best time, down in 16th now, and this is the corner where we lost all our time on the previous lap, and this time taking it pretty nicely. 4th gear, you want to go half on the curb as well, because if you take too much curb it definitely spits you off towards the wall. But now 2.5 seconds up pretty much as we backed off in the last lap, so we're going to gain time through that last corner. But at this rate we're only going to be on course for a 39.9, which isn't what I was hoping, to be honest. I was hoping for a 39.6 as I said already, which was near my PB. And we didn't really have frame rate issues in this qualifying session because there was 16 people and not 20, so there was no frame rate issues for some reason. But you can see crossing the line to go in P6, which is not good enough, and it turned out to be P7, and Nardi X team is on pole. My main championship rival Synthetics up in P3 as well, and we're starting on 1 lap older super soft tyres as well, because I bottled my first lap on my second run as well. And on this game you just can't afford to qualify outside the top 5 if you want a podium, when on the last game on 2016 you could probably qualify low end of the top 10, or maybe even outside the top 10 and still fight for a podium or even a win. But you can see the start has not been amazing. We haven't really made any progress so far. Going pretty cautiously into turn 2 as we get Alvaro and Maisie up the inside there, and we are now down to P8, so we haven't really been as aggressive as I would have hoped there. But we don't want to lose any part of our wing in races like this, because on this game if you lose part of your wing your race is pretty much over, because there's no safety car or anything where you can get back involved. Because now we've got 2 McLarens on our left there, and we go up the inside of both of them there, and that's a pretty nice move, although making a bit of contact now with Alvaro Mazia heading towards the chicane here, and he's going to try and push us off here, but we're going to give him as much as he gave us, and we're going to push him back, and we now get into P7. Now we've got Zokolet trying to make a move, I'm going to defend pretty aggressively on him because we don't want to get held up behind these McLarens, who are probably going to be slower than us. But you can see heading through the castle section now, we've got to try and get back up with the 6 cars in front, and I think Synthetic's in P4 and he was really my target to beat, considering I'm now 18 points behind him in the championship. We need to start trying to get some of that ground back after losing 18 points through no fault of my own in the last race. So taking a bit too much curve there, and we actually hit the wall as well, so now we got Zocolo, who's actually quite close behind us. And I did a bit of practice with Synthetic, and I knew that my wing levels were not good enough in the straight, but to be honest I thought some people may be running the same wing levels as me, but it turned out I believe I was the only one running 1.6, which was a wrong choice on my behalf, and I should have realised it really. I should have done more practice online to realise that this is the wrong choice. And you can see Zocolo's catching me now, no DRS even at this stage, and he's trying to get down the inside, but we're going to defend the inside line here, break into turn 1, 4th gear, he's going around the outside, and we're going to squeeze him over towards the wall there. That was pretty aggressive there from myself, but just about fair. It was a bit like Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo in the real life F1. And now heading through turn 2, you can see there's some battles in front as well. I think Synthetic's going side by side with Deagle Killer, or maybe even Chicken, I think, I'm not too sure, but breaking a 100 metre board into 3rd gear, and yeah, they're battling in front, so we really need to just get up with them and try and make some progress. But it's going to be very difficult with the wing levels I run around here, because the only real overtaking opportunity is turn 1 and straight, and with 1.6 compared to drivers of 1.4, that's pretty much impossible. And you can see Chicken's trying to get down the inside of his teammate there, cutting the corner in the process, and now we've got Alex right in front of us as well, as we now head into the castle section. And it's just frustrating when you're in a position like this, because you know you can go so much faster, but there's just no way through. And it was a similar situation in Monza last season, where my wing levels were just too high and I couldn't really make too much progress, even though I felt my pace wasn't too bad. But you can see once again heading through this corner, getting it right this time. And when I was practicing, I was doing 42s and 43s at this stage in the race, so our pace was pretty good, but you can see we're only 5.3 seconds up on our previous best time, which is going to be a 45.5 at this rate, which is not good enough pace compared to what I was doing. We're losing about 2 seconds compared to what I can do here in the traffic. So even though we've got high wing levels, we've got to still try and find a way through here. So in the slipstream, Alex, no DRS at this stage in the race. In the slipstream, you've got Zocolo right behind us as well, so we're going to go to the outside line here because Alex defended the inside, and now Zocolo's going side by side with us as well, so braking a bit earlier than Alex, and now Zocolo has just pretty much shoved us over, doing what we did last lap, even though we didn't even make contact, but he's pushed us into the wall this time. And now we've got Alonso up the inside as well, and we defend that pretty well, but we're battling now for 8th and 9th places, which is not where I need to be, especially after the last race as well. And Alonso's trying to look to the inside, but we're going to brake a bit later than him. I'm always pretty strong on the brakes, and we managed to outbrake him there and hold on to P8. But I was thinking at this stage, it's really difficult for me to get through now, so I've got to think of another way of getting past these guys and getting some clean air. So originally I was going to pit on around lap 7 or 8, I believe, but I was thinking lap 6 should be good enough to get the soft tyres to the end. It's a pretty easy one stop round here. The only thing that you really need to conserve around here is the fuel, so you can see we've added an extra lap of fuel as well around here, so we don't really need to worry about that. And I think lap 6 would be good enough to get to the end of the race as well, and hopefully get a very good undercut. But even at this stage in the race, the super soft tyres aren't going to be performing that bad, so we're not actually going to gain too much time, as you'll see in a minute. But you can see 1.5 seconds up on our best time, so this is better pace from us, but still not quite the same as what I was doing in practice, although in practice I was in clean air most of the time. And now in the slipstream of Zocolo, we're not going to be close enough to make any kind of move on him. DRS is now enabled on this lap, so opening DRS in rich mix, and you can see Zocolo's going for a move on Alex here into turn 1 as we set the fastest lap of the race with a 43.5, so that just proves that we've got pace. And now Chicken's made a mistake at turn 1 as well, and they're pretty much going 3 abreast into turn number 2 as we look to the inside line there, but that was never really going to work. So we're just hanging back at this stage, and we're going to try and pick up the pieces here. It's down the straight in the slipstream. We're going to follow their path to try and get the slipstream. Now Chicken looks to the outside there on Alex, braking into turn number 3, and he's unable to make move. Now Zocolo's got up the inside of Chicken, and at this stage we're losing probably about a second through this first sector here of the lap, and it's just really frustrating. We're going to try and get up the inside here of Chicken into the chicane, and we get forced towards the wall there, which was pretty close to a collision. And you can just see how much time we're losing. You can see how far the leaders are in front. They're going into the castle section now, and we've lost 2 seconds in the first sector actually, so not good at all. And it's just so frustrating, as I said already, but there's nothing we can do other than try and make some kind of move or try and undercut them. And this just shows how on this game and around a track like this you have to qualify in the top 5 if you want a podium, because on the last game you could just so easily still get a podium from the low end of the top 10 due to the strategy element of it, the slipstream, and also the safety cars as well, and the virtual safety cars which could bring you back into play. Where on this game you just don't have that, and it's quite frustrating. And this week, after this Grand Prix, I've actually been playing quite a bit of Project Cars, and I will be doing Season 10 of GT3, and I do enjoy Project Cars quite a bit more than this, I have to say, but coming into this as the reigning champion, I have to try my best to defend the championship, and this race is just not going to plan. But we know we have the speed. We proved that in Australia and China, despite the fact of what happened at the end of China, but we've still got to try and fight for this championship, and I'm still going to give it my absolute all, despite the fact I have exams and everything like that. It's set in a purple sector 1 there, so pace is not too bad. As Chicken almost goes into the wall there through the castle section, but luckily he didn't, because if he did we would have been taken out there as well as him. So in rich mix now, and we're going to be pitting at the end of this lap to try and make the undercut work. But you would have seen there, by setting the purple sector 1, that just proves that the super soft tyres are still going to have the pace. So in hindsight it was probably the wrong decision, but I was just getting a bit desperate at this stage to try and gain as much time as possible and gain as many positions as possible so we wouldn't be held up in the dirty air. And when you're held up around here you can overtake down the straight, but obviously with the mistake of running 1/6 wings it was just impossible. And the overall setup was very good, but with 1/6 wings it just wouldn't work really. And yeah, it felt like a good setup, it felt like a stable setup, but when you qualify down in P7 bottle qualifying like I did, I should be running 1/4 really. And you can see going onto the soft tyres now, RC Alonso's done the same thing, so clearly he's pretty frustrated with being in the traffic as well. So we've got to have some pretty mega out laps here to try and jump the 3 cars at least in front. So exiting the pit lane now, and I think Nardi X Team got wing damage on lap 4 or something like that, and he's actually pitted for mediums, and he comes out just in front of us, and that was not what I wanted to see, because once again we're probably going to have better pace, but it's going to be pretty much impossible to overtake him unless we go pretty daring on the brakes and go for a risky move into turn 1 or something. So you can see now, moving on to lap 8, we set a purple sector 1, 3/10 up on our previous best, and that is definitely good pace. So I was thinking at this stage I've probably made the right choice here to try and get the undercut. We might be able to gain some positions, and after the race so far I'll be happy with a top 5 finish, and that would be good damage limitation around here. So following Nardi X Team, and I know we got to try and clear him, because we got to try and make the most of the soft tyres whilst they're at their best, because the mediums will probably come back to us. They'll come back to Nardi X Team, sorry, towards the end of the race, and I don't want that to happen. And I know that the soft tyres have more pace around here. They probably have about half a second a lap, so we've got to try and clear him as quickly as possible. And you can see we're getting into the slipstream. We're in rich mix now. We're going to open DRS as well very soon, and you could just see how far he's pulling away here down the straight. He's slightly weave as well. I don't know why I was weaving there, but down the straight we go, and we haven't gained anything on him. In fact, we've probably lost it, despite the fact we have DRS and the slipstream and rich mix as well. And you can see Alex has come out in front of Nardi X Team, and that is just a disaster for us. We've managed to jump Chicken though, but even so we've now got 2 cars in front of us who we're probably quicker than, although maybe not Alex, but I don't really know what his pace was like. But you can just see that it's going to be a tough race from here on really. We can't get past Nardi X Team. We're going to have to just try something on the brakes, and see, just gradually I'm just getting more and more frustrated, because I know that I could have done so much better in qualifying, and I could have got a top 3 probably. I only needed about another 10th and then I would have got a top 3, because it's really close. But it just shows that how close it is, and you've got to be on it all the time in this league, and unfortunately I wasn't in qualifying. But it wasn't quite as bad as last season, qualifying in last place, but you can see the race is just not going as well as last season, and last season I think I was running 1.8 wings, so 1.6 was even less this year, but somehow other people have just decided to go with 1.4 this season, and it seems to have worked for them. And you can just see through the middle sector here, setting a personal best sector 1, but yeah, we're just getting held up now behind the IDX team, so yeah, I've got to go for it down the straight this lap here on lap 10, and then hopefully try and hunt down Alex. And we're not actually in position 10, I think there's still like 3 or 4 cars yet to pit, as we both tapped the wall there, so we're both pushing as hard as we can here, braking at the 100 metre board, only 400ths off our best time, which I think was still my best time from the super soft tyres, I believe. I think I lost quite a bit on the straight when I was setting personal best times on the soft tyres, but sorry, personal best sectors I should say. But down the straight we go now. Rich mix, DRS is open now, and once again we are not gaining anything, and yeah, that's really frustrating, and we're nowhere near close enough to make a move, so we just got to continue following him for now, which is really, yeah, you can see my frustration is just building right now. Looking to the inside there of turn number 3 here on lap 13, so that's another 3 laps stuck behind him now, and we're getting pretty close here, and we might actually try something different here in the middle sector. So we're gonna go for it up the inside here. We have a look to the inside, but that's never really on there, and we're getting so close to his rear wing. We just have so much more pace through this middle sector, and you can see looking to the inside once again, personal best first sector here on lap 13 is now heading towards the castle section, and once again not close enough to make any kind of impression on him at this stage of the lap. And P9 is now, I think someone else pitting now. Chicken has managed to catch up to us now, because we're being restricted to going to NARDX team's pace, which, even though I probably have about half a second a lap on what pace he's doing, but just with 1.6 I just can't get the move done, and it was a big mistake from myself. I've made that mistake before with wing levels, and it's a mistake hopefully I won't make too often again, but it just comes really with not doing as much practice as I would have hoped, and I should have done more online practice around here, because online's always the best method of practice, not Grand Prix mode, not events or anything like that. It's always online is the best way to do it, and that's how I did it throughout the whole of the second half of last season pretty much. And yeah, not for this race, didn't really do as much as I would have hoped, so unfortunately it hasn't gone to plan. But now heading into the castle section here on lap 14, NARDX team has made a mistake and he's in the wall, and so are we, and that is our race over. And that's another race where we've lost points through no fault of my own, and although I wasn't on course to score too many points anyway, that's 2 races in a row where we're not going to get any points whatsoever. And Synthetic was in a really good position to take the win, and he actually did take the win as well, so that now means we're 43 points behind, despite having the perfect start to the season with a win in Australia, and China was looking not too bad before the glitch. And it's just so frustrating, and we've really got to try and get back on it in Bahrain. Although I don't feel my driving's been too bad, I just know that it's not my fault in any way, and unfortunately I've lost so many points through no fault of my own. RDX team did apologise to me at the end of the race, but I accept his apology. I know he made a mistake there, but just being in the wrong position at the wrong time once again, and it is very frustrating. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Leave a like if you have, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you for round number 4, which is Bahrain. So see you very soon. Goodbye.